This is the planet Earth here. So today, I want to talk to you guys today about my anxiety and how it has affected me since I was a child. And I want to talk to you guys in a way that is not so scary, I guess. I want to tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. Let me show you an example. Look at this fog. It's weird because this fog and frost formed within it's just weird. It's just weird. Okay, it's weird to me. I never seen so much fog in my life till I came here. So let me explain certain aspects of what's going on. When I was a child, I had a lot of drama happen. It wasn't the kind of drama that you would take lightly. I had a lot of violence in my life. I had a lot of domestic violence happen. I wasn't exactly I wasn't brought up in the best childhood environment. I was brought up in an environment at first was good. Until one of my peers came to live at our house, which changed everything on my bringing up. When I was a child, everything was actually going good until one of my peers came from California. She came in to my life around 2000. Around that time, I was probably 8 or 7 years old. I don't remember exactly. I was doing fine with my anxiety. I never had anxiety. I never had any issues. I used to play basketball all the time. I never really had issues mentally. I never really had any. I had no diagnosis. It wasn't until a couple years after she came there when I started having really bad problems sleeping at night. I had nightmares and stuff like that. I never had any of that before that. I was a happy-go-lucky person. I never had issues like that. And it's weird because I never had issues. I never really had any issues. It's so weird, though. I never had one problem. It's so strange. So, after getting threatened, beat up, and all that other good stuff, is when everything changed. I don't know if it changed for the better or if it changed for the worse because, if had I been grown up in an environment where I was not exposed to all the violence that I had been growing up, I honestly don't believe my anxiety disorder would be as bad as it is. I just believe that. The growing up part is not easy. It really is not easy. The growing up part was not easy for me. There was a lot of drama and stuff involved in it. And it used to scare me a lot. A lot of people around this world have not had an easy bring up either, but my personal bring up was pretty violent at times. And I think that's a lot what contributed to my anxiety. And I noticed that I started to avoid a lot of people. Maybe when I was 12 and 13, I started to avoid people. I used to play basketball all the time, and I wasn't really good at shooting though. I really could shoot some hoops. Seriously, I could shoot some serious hoops, and that is amazing that I stopped playing basketball. I used to also be in shape. I used to weigh 165. I used to have muscles. I used to even have six-pack abs. It's funny. But then, when I was about 13 years old, I started to have the panic attacks. The first one was always the scariest one. I will never forget that one. And after that, it kind of got it just gradually got worse and worse. And then I started getting admitted to mental hospitals, and I started deteriorating. I just became more deteriorating over time. Like, I became more and more and more deteriorating. It got to the point where I was in a vicious cycle of mental hospitals, therapy, medication, mental hospitals, therapy, medication, not wanting to be at home. I literally, at one point in my life, was not wanting to go home anymore. I literally just wanted to stay inside the psychiatric units for months, and I ended up doing that, actually. In 2007 and 6, I was really messed up. I mean, I was really messed up. You know, for 3 years straight, I couldn't think anything about but hurting myself for 3 years straight, cutting myself. Luckily, I never did it too deep. I mean, I was in a mood for 3 years straight. Literally 3 years of my life. I was in a mood where I just could not stop thinking about hurting myself. And no matter what I do, no matter what I did, it was not there until I stopped taking the medication that I had been taking for 3 years. When I stopped taking that medication, I stopped having those thoughts. It all started with Adderall, and it ended up with me going to the psychiatric unit multiple times. When I stopped taking all those other medications, I stopped going to the psychiatric unit so much. It's amazing that I am now a middle-aged adult, almost. Am I? Yeah. I'm not a young adult anymore. You know, my whole teenagerhood sucked. It sucked. There was nothing special. There was nothing special about my growing up. I mean, I had nothing but anxiety, and I was ending up going to juvenile because I kept missing classes and stuff. It's really fucked up, but I had a lot of elopement. And it caused me to feel very lonely. And then I was just bad, man. I was just bad. I started eloping. They put me in the special units, like not the special education units. It was behavioral units, and me and a lot of other people had behavioral problems. The funniest thing is, I'll tell you the funniest thing. The funniest thing is, I had an opportunity in my life to better myself, and I missed those opportunities because I always said it's okay, if that makes any sense. I used to say, is it okay for me to, continue this thing of drama and anxiety? I had my first panic attack. It was actually at school. And then I started avoiding people, and then I started to become antisocial and stuff. And not really antisocial, I just kind of didn't want to be bothered by people at one point. And then it just spiraled down for years and years of... My whole teenagerhood, my whole early adulthood was nothing but anxiety. It was nothing but anxiety every day, multiple times a day. I didn't want to get out. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to talk to any of my uncle's friends. I didn't want to talk to any of my dad's friends. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go to trips. I didn't want to go to California. And then I went to California, and that's where everything started to actually get better for me. It's weird, but when I went to California, getting away from Texas, or just getting away from my aunt, really, I actually started to get better. And for once in my life, I had felt calm. I actually stopped taking the medications. And when I stopped taking the medications is when I stopped having anxiety as much. I was taking Klonopin and Seroquel at one point, and it did nothing for me. It made my anxiety worse. And it was terrible. It really was. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one day I stopped having panic attacks. It was weird. Just one day I just stopped having the anxiety attacks that I was having. And then they came back. But the weirder point is, why? What changed? Let me tell you what changed. The environment. When my environment was changed, everything got better temporarily. When I came here to Ohio, my environment had changed so much that I was almost anxiety free. I never had to worry about anything. I have people here who care about me. And that actually stopped my anxiety for a while. But then some family members have I don't want to talk about it, but some family members brought us some stuff and it started again. And I seem slightly obsessive compulsive with certain things in my life, and I don't know why. But it is there, and I don't know why. So I'm trying to think of why that happened to me. Why did I become obsessive compulsive on certain aspects? And I try to think to myself every day of what could I have done differently to bring up my upbringing a little bit better. And I realized I couldn't do anything about it because my life has been nothing but anxiety when I come to realize it, except for before 2000. I was free before 2000. It's like I've been locked up in prison and locked up within my own brain. Literally locked up in my own brain from the anxiety, worry, and tension that I experience. I don't know why, but it is like being in prison within your own brain. It is amazing how much stress and how continuously your brain cannot function normally sometimes when your body is under consistent stress. It can't be healthy for my body to be under this much stress. Well, unfortunately, I'm in a situation that I cannot get myself to on stress. And the only way that I can get myself to on stress is to become very financially stable. Now, I know a lot of people say you don't have to be financially stable to have a very stress-free life. That's not true. You want to be financially stable to have at least some stress relief. Not have to worry about bills, not have to worry about cars, not have to worry about car problems, not have to worry about this or that or rent or buying a house or paying the house mortgage. You don't have to worry about any of that if you're financially stable. To become financially stable, you have to be stable within your mind. You have to be very, very stable within your mind to get a good job. I have noticed that. You have to be very stable within your mind. And when I'm suffering from anxiety, I am not stable within my mind. It's very difficult to be stable within your mind when suffering from anxiety. It is. It is extremely, extremely difficult to be stable. When you have to worry about financial stress all the time, it takes a beating on you like you've never had. Money. It's extremely important that you have cash. It's so extremely important, and I hate it, but it's true. And there's nothing I can do about it. You know, that's the sad part is I cannot do anything about it unless I go out there and get a good paying job that is a higher paying job and work really good, really hard for many years to become top dog of my job. But with anxiety, it's like a physical, I mean, you can really do it if you try. You can really get in there and just say, fuck anxiety, I'm working anyway. You know, you could really get in there and do it. But it's difficult. Sometimes your body just doesn't let you be happy. I don't know why. I wish I didn't have any mental deficits. I wish I didn't have any physical deficits. I wish I could be normal. No thoughts, no OCD and about anything, no obsessive compulsive thoughts. Nothing, no negative thoughts, no anxiety-ridden thoughts. Not having to worry about financial stress. If I could take the OCD, actually, If I could take that financial burden off, I know that my anxiety would decrease at least 30% in most cases. Actually, I think it would decrease more. Because then I wouldn't have that aspect of worrying about the anxiety. If I didn't have to worry about anxiety, then I wouldn't have to worry about a lot of other things. I'd probably be almost anxiety free at that point. I would be. I need to find a good job that's willing to pay good money. And I want to become an 18-wheeler driver. Because I love driving. You give me a job, and I will drive for you. Driving is the epiphany of what I call freedom. It is a freedom that you can't really comprehend unless you're doing it. The freedom to move on concrete and slab. The freedom to drive anywhere you want in this country. The freedom to move through the mountains, move through the deserts, move through the plains, move through the Midwest, move through New York, move through Florida, whatever. You're free to do it. You just gotta have money. It's not like the old days where you could just take a horse and hope the best, but, I mean, it's not that easy now, but, I mean, still, you know, at least back then, you got where you needed. So anyways, besides that, guys, thank you guys for watching. This has just been my talking about this anxiety bringing up. And thank you guys for watching, and this has been the Planet Earth here.